So I had wanted to share with our viewing audience a little bit about who the buyers were, because in that last video we saw the interviewer or the anchor, whoever it was saying, it might even be somebody you know who could be a predator. And fascinatingly enough, it often is somebody we know. So in the state of Georgia, a while ago now, probably over 10 years ago, they did this online study of men who buy women for sex. And they went trawling for men who were in the market for adult women to have sex with. And after they got partway through the transaction, they got a series, the men did, of 3 warnings. And the first warning was like, hey, we know you were in the market to buy an adult, but we think we might have run out of those. And if the guy continued with the transaction a minute or 2 later, they'd say, hey, by the way, we are out of adult women, but we might have somebody under 18. And if the guy continued past that point in time, he got one more escalated, steeper gradient wording that was like, yo, dude, you're buying a kid for sex and it's illegal in every single state in America. You sure you want to proceed with this transaction? And they were trying to find out how many men who had started out looking for just adult commercial sex would, if the opportunity presented itself, continue knowing full well they were buying a child for sex. Anybody in the audience want to guess what percentage of the men who had started out looking to buy an adult for sex were perfectly fine continuing when they realized it was a kid?
80.
It might have been, but in Georgia, at that point in time, in a suburb of Atlanta, it was 47. It was almost half. 47% started out wanting to buy a 20 or 30-year-old, but were totally fine getting a 10-year-old. What was more interesting, though, is that it really shook to its core who we like to think the buyers are based on our viewing of Hollywood movies and TVs. So when they started parsing the demographics, 42% of the men who were totally willing to buy a kid for sex, if the opportunity presented itself, were not the old creepy skeevy dude in the trench coat hanging out by your kid's junior high being like, hey, baby. No. These were white, upper middle class, married men with 2.3 kids and a picket fence at home, who had waited until their wife had gone off to her business conference in Chicago, and then they'd picked up one of these, and they'd ordered some Domino's pizza, and maybe they got a little bit of beer to go with it for Uber driver delivery, and why not pizza, beer? Why not a girl, right? And they'd pack their kids off to the neighbors for a slumber party. And when they started looking at the professions that were involved in these men who bought children for sex, even though they didn't start out looking for children for sex, it was every man. It was accountants, it was pastors, it was cops, it was doctors, it was lawyers, it was everybody. Wow. So when we're teaching our children about safe sex and stranger danger, we need to include in that conversation what the actual statistics now show, which is your perpetrator, heaven forbid if you end up with one this lifetime, is much more likely probably to be somebody you know who looks like you, maybe in your family, maybe at your dad's workplace, maybe at your school, coach, church, whatever, community group, than the guy in the white panel van that is made famous by movies like Taken with Liam Neeson. So I just thought that that was sort of an important statistic to share, because we know that if you are tuned in tonight to donate, to support Peace of Heaven Rescue Facility here in Yuba, that you care about these issues. And it's important, it's a two-way street. We want to educate at the same time we're building resources to actually rescue those who have been traumatized by this.
Perfect, perfect.